The third best quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft is the freak, the beast, the monster, whatever adjective or name you want to attach to this man out of Florida, Anthony Richardson. Richardson is very enticing, very intriguing, and was one of the most difficult quarterback prospects I've ever had the opportunity to scout because he has so many things that you just really, really like in terms of athleticism. And even quarterbacking things where it stands out. But there's so many inconsistencies and so much to work on entering the NFL that it makes it difficult to project what he'll be at the NFL level. Is he worth the risk straight up? Probably. Not with the first overall pick, not in the top 3, but after that, if a team picked him inside the top 5, top 10, I understand it because the high upside is immense. The upside is QB1 in this class. The upside is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And let's talk about it. So Anthony Richardson is a big boy, and he is physically superior to the rest of the class. In terms of his positives and strengths, first thing that stood out to me was his arm strength. He has the strongest arm in this class. Not a debate. He has the most powerful arm in this class in terms of tight window throws, the speed, the velocity, the arm strength, the way the ball comes out of his hand is unbelievably high end, okay? For even the NFL level. It might not be Josh Allen, but it's top 5 probably in the NFL once he gets there. He does not have a deliberate long release for a big quarterback. He does not have this big wind up kind of Trey Lancian type of deal that I didn't see. Okay, his release is quicker than you would think from a guy of his stature and size. Typically, guys that big need more time to wind up. He can take big hits in the pocket due to his size. Not that he does very often because he's so elusive and so quick and fast, even for his size, that he doesn't often take hits. But there's a couple plays where he just does a play action drop and he's being asked to throw the ball down the field and you have to stand there and make a deep throw. He gets hit a couple times, takes it with ease. It's nothing for him. He is going to last however long he plays in the NFL. It's not going to be a problem. He's hard to take down for a sack. I mean, in combination with his size, he's got really, really quick feet for a big guy. Like his ability to twitch and move and horizontally avoid defenders is really impressive, especially for a guy of his size. It's kind of Josh Allen-like, but I'd say he's quicker and he's faster than Josh Allen, and he's just as hard to take down due to his size. I don't know if he's as chunky as Josh Allen is in the rear end department. I don't think so, but he is really hard to take down in the pocket. And it's rare that you see somebody that has like twitch that would rival, let's say, I don't want to say Lamar or Kyler, but like Deshaun Watson at his peak or something of that nature, but also is as big as Cam Newton. So it's very rare to see that in a quarterback. On top of that, you have somebody that has just effortless ability to keep his eyes downfield and avoid sacks at the same time. Because he's so physically impressive and he's such a good athlete, he can just run around, avoid defenders, stiff arm a guy away from a sack, just juke a guy out, still looking down the field, which is impressive, and trying to make a throw. Whether he makes that throw or not is sometimes dicey, but he can do that and he can avoid sacks at a high level. His pocket movement, just in general, not getting outside the pocket like I've been talking about, not the ability to get away and elude blitzers or rushers, but the ability to be in the pocket and kind of step subtly, moving. This is something I didn't like about Hendon Hooker's game. He's good at it. Like, for a guy that is so athletic, you would think that, like a Justin Fields, which I don't like about Justin Fields. Fields is not very good at just moving from left to right in the pocket subtly. He's very, very kind of deliberate, and he just takes off and he runs. With Richardson, he actually has really good subtle movement in the pocket and understands how to manipulate the pocket without having to run. Sometimes you're almost looking at him and you're like, can you just run, dude? Like, you'd be able to get 10 yards here if you just kind of like stepped to the right and just ran around the corner. And I think at times in the NFL, when he's younger, especially if they play him early on, he's going to be able to just drill into his mind, okay, yeah, I can sit here all day, but let's just run. Like, let's just get out and run. And that's the floor of his athleticism that it brings to an NFL offense. Similar to Justin Fields, right? That we saw last year with him. Like, he couldn't hit water falling out of a boat, but he could run. So it allowed him to be able to, have that floor of that ability to gain yards. And then you talk about his awareness to pressure itself. Like, he's very good at avoiding it. He's very good at subtly moving away from it, but his actual awareness of pressure is good. Like, again, I see a lot of quarterbacks that are runners. I see a lot of quarterbacks that are athletes. A lot of guys that, they don't have the upstairs to be able to, okay, I see it coming. Like, so then I can plan. That's what makes Josh Allen really special, because he actually sees a lot of it coming. So then he knows how to, and that's why Richardson, I feel like, is so good at subtly moving, because he knows it's coming before it comes. And he's very playmaker, natural feel for the pocket and for quarterback, which is very good in terms of a starting point. Okay? He can accelerate and get to the edge extremely fast. His speed is real. His acceleration is real, even for his size. Like, once he decides to take off, he is gone. Okay? His speed to the edge, like his ability to run to the edge, is Lamar Jackson type of speed. Okay? Justin Fields type of speed. His ability to get to the edge is extremely impressive, and it almost looks like he's in fast forward, because you do not believe that a guy that big is able to run and move the way that he does, which I think is going to transfer to the NFL. When he decides he wants to run from a scramble position, it takes him 1 or 2 strides to actually create a positive gain. It doesn't take much, because he's so big, he's so long strided. It's very easy for him to just get back to the line of scrimmage or run itself and create positive yards. And to me, he isn't just a straight line athlete. Like, he can move. Like, I felt like Will Levis was a little bit too much. Like, he can't really move side to side. Richardson can run fast, and he can also move horizontally and avoid people. And he, in my opinion, if you're comparing him, like, Fields is extremely fast straight away. Richardson can move laterally better than somebody like Justin Fields. He's closer to a Lamar in that regard in terms of his ability. Not saying he's Lamar or Kyler in terms of that, because those guys are much smaller, much twitchier, but Richardson is closer, in my opinion, to those guys. He has real power. I mean, he breaks tackles versus Georgia, which is all you need to know. Right? He's in open space. He breaks tackles. It's not even that hard for him. So his power is going to translate to the NFL in a way that Jalen Hurts' power did, or Cam Newton's power did as well. Okay? He will also get easier coverages in the NFL because of his ability to run. Because his ability to run at the NFL level will be one of the best at the quarterback position. On designed runs, on scrambles, defenses will have to compensate, which leaves easier coverages for him to become a passer and develop as a passer, similar to what we saw from Lamar early in his career. So I love that for him. Now, on top of that, he doesn't always look to run. He tries to be a passer, some of the time. He's not a guy that just takes off and runs. I think that was one of the things I didn't like about Justin Fields. This is something I don't really worry about Richardson. He will try to throw the ball if he has to, and if that's what the design is, he's going to pass. He's not just going to run to run. Okay, a lot of his running is actually on design runs. He doesn't scramble actually as much as you would think, in my opinion. He's pretty accurate down the field. Passing the ball, his strength is probably deep passing, and his ability to, obviously his arm strength can get it there, but his ability to put touch and arc and accuracy on a deep ball is pretty good. And I can clearly see how you would fit him into an offense. His offensive fit, at least early on, is run first, right? And he's going to be a designed element of the offense, and then he's going to be looking to strike deep down the field, play action, things of that nature. And I think that's where he can succeed early in his career. Chunk plays, that's the type of, I envision Atlanta. I envision Atlanta for the fit. Maybe, like a Shane Steichen, Eagles, Colts now potentially attack, something like that. He's pretty good at resetting his feet in the pocket under duress and trying to make a throw. He had a number of drops by his receivers, which I think is inflating his completion percentage and things of that nature. A lot of drops that I felt like were not his fault. He doesn't make a lot of bad decisions, and it's mostly because he's so athletic that he can avoid bad decisions. So if he doesn't like something, he is athletic enough to kind of move, scramble, throw it away, do whatever he has to do to avoid the bad decision, which is good. Sometimes pressure causes him into a bad decision or two, but it's not too often that he makes a pure bad decision or bad throw based on judgment, because his judgment and his athleticism allows him to avoid those things. Similar to a Jalen Hurts at the NFL level, how Jalen Hurts isn't the best decision maker in terms of passing the ball, but he avoids a lot of bad decisions by how he can run, right? So that's where I see it. And some of his decisions are, maybe they could be better. Like he could have his eyes in a better place to throw the ball. But for now, he at least doesn't make bad, straight up terrible decisions, okay? His negatives and his weaknesses. When rushed, he can make some bad decisions. Okay, I just talked about his decision making, but if there's pressure all around him and he can't escape, sometimes he tries to be Superman and he does throw an inaccurate throw. And because of his inaccuracies and his mechanics, which are one of his big weaknesses, he can throw an inaccurate ball, which goes to a defender or off the receiver's hands into a defender's lap, something of that nature. He seems to lose his mechanics quite often and try to sidearm a lot, like just this loose sidearm thing that I don't like, especially when he's on the move. It just gets out of whack and inaccurate and very inconsistent. He misses a lot of layups, a ton of layups, like easy throws on a silver platter. He misses it. Like there's throws that it's for a touchdown, fullback in the flat, tight end in the flat, whatever it may be, on a play action boot, misses the guy. Like straight up misses him. So that is not good. You can't miss those in the NFL. He has this kind of weird delivery where it's a weird wind up sidearm thing like I just talked about. But I think that's what makes him miss easy throws, in my opinion. It stems from mechanics and it stems from that release point of where he's throwing the ball. His accuracy is a problem, okay? It's a big problem. Like, it's bad a lot of the time, and it's inconsistent. When he's not definitive of where he's going to throw the ball, like if he's not like, that's my first read, that guy's open, okay, bam, throw, like set, throw, bam, it's there. Like, he can do that. If it's not, okay, one's not open, two, I got to reset, okay, I got to throw it. Sometimes he can get all wacky. Okay, so, and even times when it's his first read, it's like, first read, okay, where do I properly place the ball? His placement isn't always good. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, sometimes right, left, whatever, but he's not the most accurate placement-wise either. So he's not right now a refined, mechanically sound passer. He's not whatsoever. That is a huge weakness of his, and his biggest weakness. Sometimes he tries to be a playmaker outside the pocket and he simply cannot deliver the throw because he's not good enough as a passer. So he can get halfway there, but unless he just purely throws it with arm strength, sometimes if he tries to throw it with touch, he misses the guy, okay? His release and motion at times reminds me of Trey Lance, which scares me. Just going to put that out there. He needs to learn how to take some heat off of his throws. I think he would be a more accurate passer if he tried to deliver with a variety of touch and layers to his throwing, right? Like sometimes he just drills it. Like it's a screen pass, he just throws it as hard as he can. Right over the middle, throws it as hard as he can. Like needs to learn how to take something off of his passes. His eyes can be better at manipulating safeties and coverage. This is things that will be fixable at the NFL level, but sometimes he just stares down the middle of the field. And it's like, bro, where are you looking? Like, you're just staring down the middle of the field, and then bam, I'm going to throw to the left. Like, he doesn't, like, subtly look off safeties or anything at this point. He doesn't, like, look to the safety, okay, I'm going to look him off, and then I'm going to throw it back to the right, something like that. He doesn't do that. And his reading of the safeties is kind of immature, lacking experience. Sometimes he is unaware of, like, where to go with the ball necessarily, like in hot situations. So if he's under pressure, which I think causes him to make mistakes, he doesn't know what to do with the ball if he's under pressure from a blitz or like a hot situation. I don't know if that's an offense thing at the college level with Florida or if that's his problem, but yeah, he didn't seem to have a good handle for blitzes, edge blitzes, and understanding, okay, where's my hot guy? Where do I go with the ball? So those are the positives, the negatives. Overall, I think this is a guy with a ton of physical upside that his work ethic will determine how good he is. If he can match the work ethic of Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, the way that they were flawed, but they came into the NFL and they fixed some of their issues, their accuracies, their mechanics, their throwing. If he can work really hard, and I don't know that. I've never talked to him. I've never been in an interview with him. I've never talked football with him. I don't know. So I can't answer that question, but teams will have to determine that. Okay? But if he can work really hard, I believe that this guy can be very, very good at football because I think he has enough room to grow where he can fix his mechanics. It's not too crazy, and he'll learn some of the nuances of quarterback, like reading safeties and things like that. He's so athletic that his floor is high due to his athleticism. The rushing ability is so real that if he just becomes a marginal passer, he'll be a good NFL starter. So he can be QB1 with proper work ethic and technique training, but that will take some time. This is not a guy that you want to start from day one. It's a guy that you want at least on the bench for a year. Okay, he might even be a year away from being a year away, but as long as it pays off at the end of the day, that's what you're drafting him for. He has not played a lot, so he has a ton of room to grow and a ton of experience and things to learn, okay? So that is my take on Anthony Richardson. He's my number 3 because he has the upside to be number 1. He is extremely athletically gifted, but also extremely flawed as a passer. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It's Mitch. That is my number 3 quarterback in this year's NFL draft, Anthony Richardson of Florida.